So combining our aggregate demand and aggregate supply curves together, we get something like this, where there's an equilibrium that relates to some price level. Remember, all of our price levels are always indexed. So this is going to be a price level of, let's say, 90, and some real GDP of, let's say, 8.8 trillion US dollars. So if this is where we are in the short run, and this is our potential or full employment GDP, then this gap here between the two that would be what we would call a recessionary gap. Because our GDP is finding a short-run equilibrium that is below the potential GDP. Also known as the long-run aggregate supply curve. This one's also known as the short-run aggregate supply curve. If you just see aggregate supply, assume it's the short run. Don't assume it's the long run. Typically, people always label the long run and sometimes forget to label the short run one. Questions on aggregate supply, aggregate demand, equilibrium. So obviously, if it's on this side of long-run aggregate supply, it's a recessionary gap, right? What if, for some reason, our aggregate demand shifted over here and we were at this new equilibrium? Well, this new equilibrium, we would be at what's called an inflationary gap. So whenever our equilibrium is I wish I had a red that's that bright. Let's see if I do. Okay, that's kind of readable. So if the aggregate demand were to go up to here, and we had a new equilibrium right here, then this difference would be an inflationary gap. Unfortunately, it's not, I mean, you can call this one an expansionary gap, but if you anchor it in your mind as an inflationary gap right now, it's going to be easier when we talk about long-run adjustments to economic activity. But that's jumping ahead a couple chapters. Questions on macroeconomic equilibrium?